Well, I'm a survivor of the Second World War, where my family lost our home, all our possessions, and I lost my father, who was murdered by the Nazis. And this object, not exactly this particular one, but one like it, was a very, very significant and dear possession of mine, because from very early years, I was passionately in love with the sound of the piano. I will have probably seen and heard the piano somewhere. That's why this passion for it arose. And I used to have a pretend piano. And when I can remember, probably about the age of 5, between 4 and 5, I would have two stools, a taller one, a higher one, and a lower one. And I would sit on the lower one, and I would do piano playing on the higher stool. So that was my first piano. But when the real piano arrived, it was a huge excitement and a very magical. And then war came when I was about 6, and horrible things began to happen, and we, as a consequence of it, we were dispossessed of our home and all our possessions, and I remember a moment when the Nazis were taking out all things from our home, and including the piano. And I stood in shivering, sort of cuddling to my mother's skirt, and horrified that they were taking the piano away. But they took more than that, because in the end they took my father's life away as well. In various extraordinary circumstances during the war, when we were basically sort of hiding because we were Jewish, and therefore we were under a death sentence from the moment the Nazis came. We were hiding under false identity, and that's how we managed to survive. Suddenly we found ourselves in a home of a family where there was a piano. And when I heard it, I immediately started begging my mother to ask if I could play on the piano. And since we were under false identity, and mother was pretending that she was a simple woman from a village somewhere, so it wasn't right that her little girl should play the piano. This didn't belong to that milieu of the society. But I finally persuaded her, and so she asked the people if her little girl could play the piano, and my mother said she wouldn't spoil it. So I went to the piano, and they immediately realized that actually I knew something about playing the piano. So in the midst of the horror of this war situation, I had a period where I was able to get to the piano and play. Whatever music I could get hold of, I would play. And so this was, eventually I became a professional pianist, after the war, of course. And my education was very, very unorthodox. I launched myself into an album of Strauss's waltzes, and I absolutely delighted in them. I was playing through them, and obviously it was a very good thing that I did, because as soon as the war ended, I was accepted to a very specialized school, high school for young musicians, and from then on, my road was open to what I wanted to become, which was to become a professional pianist. I went through a time in my late 20s where I think all the horrific experiences of the war and the Holocaust finally came to a head, and I had quite a severe breakdown, and that it brought about a reaction also that I did not want to have anything to do with music, with the piano. I kept it shut. And gradually, as I had psychotherapy, and as I began to recover, I began to go back to, of course, to playing. But very gradually, it was a very dark period in my life. It has given me an unquestionable direction in my life. I was not one of the young people who come to a certain age and wonder, well, what do I really want to do? There was never such a question in my life. I knew that this was the only thing that I truly wanted to devote all my energies and my attention to. It was a main artery in my inner life, really. The most favorite piece of music is the one that I'm playing at the moment. And there are composers that I feel particular closeness to. Obviously Chopin, because he represents to me certainly the poetry and the feel of Polish language, Polish music, the Polish spirit. I lost the intensity of being attached to things because we lost everything. But the piano, I wouldn't want to lose again.